Look, we are running out of time, which is the most regrettable part of this entire situation. And I mean, all of us here had a lot to say about this bill because it's so complicated. One of the issues we've got is that this required a deep, fulsome look, and we actually got this bill introduced into the House, I think this time last week, Thursday of last week. It was then put through to a committee hearing on the Monday, and then the report was delivered 2 days ago, and here we are, which is an extraordinary sequence of events for something that is highly, highly complicated. And we've just heard Senator Hanson-Young quite rightly say that we don't know what the long-term effect of all of these on various platforms is. We don't know because it keeps evolving. This time last week, we were told Snapchat was out, and YouTube was in terms of the ban. So, I mean, how far we've come in a week, it's extraordinary. And I mean, look, we all hear the stories about bullying. We all hear and have a lot of concern about those. We don't want to discount those concerns by any stretch, but we are in the process in this chamber tonight, of throwing the proverbial baby out with the bathwater, because we've heard the Human Rights Commission, we've heard commentators and others from across the country tell us about the thing that we're not talking about, which is the value of social media to kids. Commissioner Finlay from the Human Rights Commission wrote an article in the paper this week stating very clearly and very correctly that in fact there are lots of instances where children benefit greatly from social media, including, but not limited to, instances of social isolation, of the tyranny of distance, and sometimes even with learning difficulties and so forth. So this just has not been considered enough. And the fact that we're standing here now rushing with 10 minutes to go when many of us couldn't even make proper contributions to a second reading debate is a disgrace. So we cannot, and Senator Canavan's absolutely right with what does this message say to the children of this country when we have spent all day talking about ourselves in this building, by the way, as we do all the time, and we've crammed this critical legislation into making senators juggle between ministerial answers which are being filibustered. I mean, this is just not the way to conduct a democracy, and I think we're much the poorer for it. So I'm going to cut to the chase because I think we still do have other senators. I think we do. Look, let's be very clear about this. We don't know if this is going to work, and we don't know if it will have any impact on the problem they're trying to solve here. If you want to see some of the most egregious abuse you'll ever see online, go online to a Call of Duty game and listen to the kids going at each other, talking about people's... It's exempt, quite right, it's exempt. So who's thought of that one, Minister? Who's taken that into account, and who ultimately is going to take responsibility when this goes the way of the Hindenburg, which it will, because it is a disaster waiting to happen? The Prime Minister and the Minister for Communications have boasted that the passing of this bill will make Australia a world leader in online safety. Well, they're wrong, because if this bill passes, we won't be leading the world in online safety. We'll be leading ourselves and those naive enough to follow us down the road to further digital authoritarianism, as outlined by Senator Roberts today. My fear is that when we finish tonight, we will have put another brick in the wall of a social credit style system in this country and let everybody look back on tonight as a night of shame.